Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us right now, and we definitely appreciate that. So I received lots of requests for shows, and you can, by the way, send a request to Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. You'll see it right there on the screen as well. So with the topsy-turvy world we're in right now, everything is like weird. It's like what's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. I mean, it's just really kind of strange right now. So a lot of requests have come in about how to spot a liar. I mean, how to find one. So Rachel, thank you so much for sending this to me. And this is found on insider.com. Insider.com. 8 signs someone is lying to you. And this is according to a deception detection experts. And so let's just see what this is like. First of all, I have a video. I'd like for you to look at this real quick. Let's see what you think about it.
One of us is not telling the truth.
Can you tell which one of us
is trying to deceive you?
I'm fluent in 3 languages.
I grew up in Shanghai.
I grew up with 5 different pets.
I have never traveled outside of the United States.
I have never broken a bone.
My favorite author is Ray Bradbury. So,
did you guess
Did you guess?
Did you guess which one of us?
Which one of us?
which one of us is not
being
being truthful?
truthful? If you guessed that I was the liar, you'd be correct.
Here at the University of Rochester, we're applying techniques from data science to understand the characteristics of smile in deceptive communication. Prior research shows that even an expert human is as good as random chance in detecting when somebody's lying or telling the truth. We envision a future where a machine and human could work together, where a machine can understand the nonverbal nuances really well, that's invisible to the human eye, and an expert interrogator can take a look at the data towards making a final prediction.
From the University of Rochester. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? Okay, you'll see advertising, you know, buy this, buy that, why my brand is better than your brand, that kind of thing all the time. And I'm just going to tell you, the old story is true. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There's one glue commercial, and Phil and I laugh about this one all the time. And so this guy is putting this glue on something, and it's actually holding up like a ton of bricks or something. There is no way that happens. So don't be deceived by that. Another thing is politics. Okay, so can't believe every politician, just like you saw in the video just a few seconds ago, the one who's smiling the most sometimes is the most deceptive. Okay, so some people look like they're guilty of something and they're not. They're just not a good actor or a good actress. So let's talk about these. Again, this comes from insider.com, and it's 8 telltale signs someone is lying to you, according to deception detection experts. Absolutely. So a little bit of reading before we get started with that is a liar may avoid giving specific details to a situation and respond in short, uninformative answers. So let's say you're out on, someone is on the political trail, and you have a question, and it's a good question, okay? And everybody else is thinking the same thing you are. If the politician jumps around the issue, if he's skirting the issue, he's not giving you a good, clear answer to what the question you're posing to him or her, don't vote for that person, okay? Because if they're lying to you about something on the campaign trail, they're going to be lying to you about something else. Contrary to popular belief, liars may also fidget less and look directly to you when they're lying. Oh yeah, man, some of them are so good at it. I mean, like really super good. Just like you saw in the video. The one guy who was kind of looking off, to me, that one, I thought, that was my first glance. I thought, I wonder if he's the one who's telling the lie. And then we're looking at the one who was just looking right in and just looking at everybody smiling. that wound up being the one. So be really, really careful, okay? There's some smooth operators out there, and be careful on the internet, please. I'm begging people all the time. Because somebody tells you you're beautiful, or because someone tells you you're handsome, it may not even be a man or a woman that they're disguising themselves as, so be really careful. Okay, number 3, they also repeat your question before answering it, so they got a little bit more time to think. Yeah, I've heard that one right there as well. It can be hard to tell if someone is lying to you, especially if you don't know them very well. And some of the tip-offs you may have heard of, like people fidgeting or looking away, aren't actually good gauges of a lie. There are certain speech patterns like repeating the questions, like we mentioned just a few seconds ago, or maybe even giving shorter answers, which are more reliable signs that someone is lying to you. But there are 8 science-backed ways to find out if somebody's lying to you. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, and I'm making sure I'm keeping up with my time with you, okay? All right, because I do respect your time. Okay, number 1, their answers to the questions may be shorter. Let's dig a little bit. What's this about? Okay, so if you ask a liar a question, they'll often give you a shorter, more bare bones response than someone who's telling the truth. So in a small 2012 survey, participants were trained to recognize lies using the assessment criteria indicative of a deception. It's called ACID. They got it abbreviated method, which suggests that truthful answers tend to be longer and more vivid than lies. Before training, people recognized lies 61% of the time, and after this particular training, their accuracy jumped to 70%. However, answer length isn't always a hard and fast rule. The length of an answer does not tell us much unless we know the person and how to verbalize how they usually are. And this is what Samantha Mann, who is a researcher at the University of Portsmouth, said to detect deception. This is because people differ vastly in how much they talk, whether lying or telling or truth-telling, Mann says, but encouraging someone to talk more may help you determine if they're lying. A liar is more likely to reveal themselves in a longer story, while an honest person may provide evidence that what they're saying is true. For example, if someone is telling you about their day, encouraging them to say more may lead to a slip-up, like saying they went to the store even though it's actually closed that day. Yeah, that's how you can find some folks out. Okay, number 2, and I find this one is really, really interesting. They avoid giving specific details. Okay, so liars may be less inclined to include what we call verifiable details, Mann says. Verifiable details are details that can be definitely prove their story is true or false, including the exact times of events, maybe even names of specific locations. Phil and I were watching a movie the other night, and this was an old whodunit movie made back in the 1940s, the early 40s. And so these people were actually, they were good guys, okay? And so they were kind of like, they worked for the government, and they were trying to find someone who was trying to destroy a particular business. And they found them. But the good guy thought they were actually the bad guy. So some of the good guys of the company. And so they asked a question and said, oh, they were posing as they were married, these good guys were. And they were, again, working for the government. So what happened was the good guy who was with the company said, oh, where were you married? So the lady said London. And previously they had asked the guy where they were married, and he said Paris. So see, this is a good couple. They were working for the government, they were working undercover. But see, that's something else. That was a lie. So in other words, they were not really married, but they were working undercover. Okay, maybe they avoid giving specific details of names of the people they encountered. Maybe their exact route to a place, the specific words they used in a conversation. So it's normal to forget some information. I mean, I would probably look like a liar in some cases because I may forget what I had for breakfast this morning. You know what I mean? But especially if you're asking about something that happened further in the past. But if the person you're talking to seems to be intentionally vague or deflects any questions about details, this might be a sign they're lying. Okay, number 3. This is something you always heard about. Oh, they fidget if they're telling a lie. Well, let's look at this. Maybe there's something to it. They may fidget less. And think about this. Okay, so if someone is lying to you, they probably have a lot of experience in lying, so they know how to not fidget. You know what I mean? Most people expect a liar to be fidgety, says Mann, but in some cases they may actually move less than the truth tellers, according to Mann. This is likely for 2 key reasons. People are usually unaware of how much they move, but when they lie, you may be more aware of your body. They may be more aware of your body language. For this reason, liars may try harder to control themselves and avoid making fidgety movements. Again, they had some experience in it. Lying may require you to think harder than truth telling, because you need to remember the lie, okay? So they got to remember the lie. Avoid telling the truth and invent details as needed. This intense concentration may keep your body more still as all energy goes to the brain, Mann says. Okay, number 4, let's get to this one. They don't look away while thinking. I mean, you always think a liar just goes, they look away, they do those things. So people often expect the liars will avoid eye contact during a conversation, but this is not always the case. I believe this. I've had some employees, I knew they were lying to me. I knew, but they did all the right things. They were looking me in the eyes. They weren't looking off. They weren't doing any of that stuff. As a matter of fact, Phil and I knew that some of our employees were doing drugs, but we just knew they were, because there were some signs inside the office after hours and people were staying longer than they had to stay. We thought we knew who it was. It was not who we thought. I mean, we were shocked to find out who they were. So what happened was, we sent a broadcast email out to all of our employees and said we would be having some random drug tests done. That day, 2 of the people we least expected were the ones who responded and said, I guess I'll just go ahead and turn in the notice now. I'm the one doing drugs. So you can be fooled. You just got to be smart, and you got to be aware of people, okay? And I'm saying this to you because I don't want you losing any more money on the internet. I know a lot of you have. You have friended people on Facebook and what have you, and they've taken some of your money. I want to make sure that this is just one of my goals in life. I want to make sure you keep your hard-earned money. It's too, some of you inherited it. And then some fool on the internet, on the internet finds out about that. They see where you are now widowed or a widower or whatever. They're going to start focusing on you because they think you probably have some money that you'll spend on them. Be really, really careful. As a matter of fact, if your spouse passes away, don't even put that you're widowed, okay? Let's just leave it that you're married. Okay, so let's start over with this one. They don't look away while they're thinking. People often expect that liars will avoid eye contact during a conversation, but this is not always the case, Mann says. If anything, liars are more likely to attempt to hold gaze, even if they don't keep it up, Mann says. So people are telling the truth will often look away while they're thinking about the answer to a question, likely as a way to help them concentrate. In contrast, liars may avoid looking away because they're more aware of their own eye contact and whether or not they seem dishonest. Now remember, these people are thugs, okay? They got plenty of experience. People who are telling the truth are not working as hard to look good, said Kevin Caldwell. Now, he is a professor of psychology at SCSU who studies polygraph and forensics techniques. Liars may also keep their eyes on you and see how you're responding to their story, and they'll figure out whether or not you believe them. So you take this to the bank. Let's go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back shortly. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. Regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Okay, we're back. Thank you so much for watching The Edge. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IAC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We're talking about 8 telltale signs that someone is lying to you, according to a deception detection expert. Now, this is actually found on a website, insider.com. One of our listeners sent this to me, so thank you so much for doing that. We got to number one. Number one was their answers to questions could be shorter. Number 2, they avoid giving specific details. Be careful of that. Now, use this when you're out on the campaign trail and you're watching folks who are running for office, okay? They may fidget less. And then number 4 is they don't look away while thinking, okay? They've practiced, okay? And they are really good on deception. Let's talk about number 5. They repeat the question before answering. Now, I would have thought, well, people are repeating the question before answering because they want to make sure you're answering you correctly. See, some of these things are not anything like we've thought. So number 5, if you ask a liar a question, they're more likely to repeat that question back to you before they answer, while truth tellers are less likely to do this. This may be because they haven't thought of their lie yet, or they need to invent a new detail in the story. Maybe they've thought about what they told you and they thought, well, let's see, that may not fly with them. So they're thinking of something else. Now, repeating the question before answering may give them time to consider what it is you're asking and come up with a believable story. Let me mention this before I go on to number 6. So when I was working in the corporate world, I handled the government and corporate accounts with GTE, and we went to several seminars and training sessions and things like that. They always told us to repeat the question. They would say, when a potential customer asks you a question, repeat it to make sure that you're giving your answer back to them. That's okay, I think, okay, because that way you're letting the prospective client know that you want to make sure you understand the question. Okay, so I think there's a difference there. I kind of agree and I kind of disagree with that one, because again, that's how I was trained, and I just always ask the question back just to make sure I get it clear in my head before I get it out there, you know. Okay, now number 6, they have specific nervous tics. Really look at this one. You got that guy out there or woman out on the stage, and they're running for office, and someone poses a question. So let's look at this. Liars may be generally likely to fidget, but there are a few specific behaviors that may be linked to lying. This can include they do grooming behaviors like smoothing their hair. Now, I wouldn't take this one to the bank. Like, what if it's an outside event and the wind is blowing? I would be constantly smoothing my hair, okay? So that may not be the truth right there. Okay, I'll put it to you this way. If they are in an auditorium and they're doing that, maybe that's it. They gesture towards themselves while they're talking. They may press their lips together when asked a sensitive question. Yeah, when you're out there on the campaign trail, let's say you're a conservative and someone is saying they're a conservative, and you ask them about one of those hot political questions, you know, that all of us conservatives like, such as maybe the border or something like that. They're tight-lipped. They may be thinking of something, okay? So watch body language. However, there is some doubt about whether you can use nervous behaviors to tell if someone is lying. Okay, some experts argue that nonverbal signs of lying aren't reliable. I'm going to say that on a couple of those, especially your hair. You're an outside event, you got to fix your hair, okay? Your hair is going to be flying all over the place. Some experts argue that nonverbal signs of lying aren't reliable, and paying attention to behavior may not help you to detect a lie. A truth teller might also be nervous or emotional about whatever information they're imparting, man says, which can also cause nervous behaviors to show up. I've often thought about that. I'm feeling I just love to watch these old movies. They're better than anything new that's made these days. And so we'll watch the behavior of people. And there was one, I was spot on, I guessed it. So this guy on the old movie was having to take a lie detectors test. Well, I looked at Phil and I said, if I had to take a lie detector's test, I'd be nervous too. The thing would probably be moving all over the place because I would be afraid people would think I was lying. You know what I mean? So I can't think that some of that stuff is 100% true. Okay, number 7, they start out talking slowly, but then they speed up. Oh, they know you're about to be on them. So when a liar answers a question, they will often start out with a longer pause to tell the story slowly. Talking more slowly can give them a little time to come up with a narrative or invent details as they're going. They may also use this extra time to watch your reaction as they speak, so they can adjust to what they're saying based on how you respond. Once the liar has a clear sense of their story, they will often suddenly speed up their pace of talking. This may be because they think speaking too slowly will seem suspicious, so they start speaking faster as soon as they're able. So this transition from slow to fast can happen as little as 1 sentence. So people telling the truth are less likely to show these dramatic changes in talking speed. That's a good one. All right, let's get right here to number 8. They speak the same exact story each time. All right, let's dig on this one because I would think you'd want them to speak the same story. So let's see what I'm missing here. So if you ask someone to repeat their story, honest people have a memory enhancement effect from the additional recall attempt, Caldwell says. This means that when you're retelling a true story, people will often add new details. Okay, I get that. Okay. So they'll often add new details that they didn't include the first time because you'll remember things as you're going. Liars do not want to contradict themselves or do anything that calls their statement into question, Caldwell says, so they're less likely to add on details to a story, like where exactly they were standing or what they were thinking. So liars attempt to tell the same story in the same order each time, Caldwell says. If ACID method from the previously mentioned study holds that deceptive answers tend to be more rigid, carefully phrased, and less likely to change with retelling. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. So let's just say that you guys asked me, oh, did you say you went fishing for the weekend? And I'm going to say, oh, yeah. And then I may remember that the wind was kind of breezy outside, but I may forget the detail that it did rain some, you know. So when I'm retelling the story, I may say, you know, it was breezy outside, it was kind of hot, and but we got a little bit of rain. See, I mean, that's okay because I'm remembering it the second time. And then I may be telling the story about fishing. I may have forgotten to say that Phil was with me. So I may go ahead and tell that story again. Then I'll say it was kind of hot outside. It was really humid. The wind was a little bit breezy. It rained a little bit. And then Phil was out here with me as well. And then you may say, well, you didn't mention Phil was there. Well, I just didn't think about it at that time. So don't be too pinpointy about it. And I agree with that. After listening to this, it could be, you know, that's the reason they're telling the same story over and over again. So this is the insider's takeaway, insider.com. It's not easy to recognize when someone is lying, but looking out for certain signs like avoiding specifics or repeating the same exact story may help you detect if someone isn't telling the truth. But it's important to remember that these signs, especially nonverbal clues, aren't definitely proof that someone is lying to you. Just because a person makes consistent eye contact, it certainly doesn't mean that they're being truthful. Or if a person appears to be fidgety and maybe they're a little bit nervous or behave in an odd way, it certainly doesn't mean they're lying, man says. The most important thing to do is ask for more information. The more information you can get, the more likely you are to discover whether or not you're being told the truth, man says. Okay, I hope this helps. When you're going out on the campaign trail and you're listening to someone, they're running for office, or maybe your kids, somebody broke the lamp. So you got all the kids sat out there on the couch, you're going to find out who broke that lamp. Use some of these just to kind of figure it out. My name is Donna. I am your host of The Edge on IEC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching.